welcome to the Oregon Files podcast. Today, we are interviewing Kris Wiley, the director of the Roseburg Public Library. But first, our disclaimer. We're amateur podcasters simply for entertainment. If we misquote or offend, it was not on purpose to do so. But with Kris today, I think you'll be hopefully by the books. Is that fair? Okay. And my co-host, Elliot Bowman.
We'll turn the page on that one. Oh, no. We didn't. I was even thinking we weren't going to do dad jokes today, but we opened it up already with dad jokes. Thank you so much, Mark. I hope everyone is having a fabulous, today is the official day of summer solstice, right? The official start of summer, which is weird to think that every day after this gets shorter, even though it's only like June 22nd, but it's also been, I think it's like our 2-year anniversary too of the podcast, which is exciting. This is episode 39, 38 or 39, somewhere between 36 and 40. We're in there. When Mark and I first started the podcast, we had some general ideas on who we would want to interview. We kind of tossed around the idea of getting people on the podcast that would be not every day, like people you would think about would come on a podcast, like a baker or like a fireman or something like that. So I just love the idea that today we have on a librarian to get to know a librarian a little more and get to know about the library process. And I'm just super excited to get to know Kris. And I'm glad that she was able to make time out of her busy day today because it's like 4:00 and the library looks busy. So we'll try not to take too much of her time. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah. It's my favorite topic. Are you kidding? I love being here.
Yeah. Would you mind just telling us a little about yourself and take us through how you you got here? Did you grow up in Douglas County in Roseburg in Oregon?
I did not. I am still new to Oregon. I grew up in Iowa.
Oh wow. My God.
Is there a connection?
That's like the fourth. Okay.
Yeah.
This is maybe the third or fourth interview in the row that someone said there's either from like Indiana or Iowa.
Is that right? Well, cool people.
I knew I just had it in my head. She's going to say Iowa. Iowa, Illinois, or Indiana. That is so funny. Sorry.
I grew up in small town Iowa. My family is still there. I went to the University of Iowa.
Hawkeye.
And then, yes, I'm a Hawkeye and have lived all over the country. Came out here 5 years ago just to open up this library,
really?
And it has gone by so fast and been the most amazing experience. But get to go back to Iowa and visit my family too about once a year.
Yeah.
But I've really adopted Oregon as my second home.
Yeah.
Wow. So you came out here and then, so what year did you come out here?
2018.
Oh, 2018 and then the world went to poop.
That's right. We had this amazing rejuvenation of the library. We opened in December of 2018, and within a year and a couple of months, we were shut down then for COVID. But we had an awesome first year. Right. And then we made it through COVID just as everybody else did, transitioned services and found new ways of doing things that we're still doing now and will continue to do. Right. And we're back better than ever.
You're right. So the library was completely shut down during COVID?
The building was shut.
Yeah.
We had drive-up pickup services within 2 weeks of COVID. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so once a week, people would drive up and we'd meet them outside, and we tweaked that over time as well.
Man. So when you grew up in Iowa, I mean, were you like, was it like farm life or?
It was. Yeah. I was in 4-H, showed cattle at the fair, that whole deal. My dad was a dairy farmer.
Okay.
And I grew up in a town with 85 people. Okay. And when people talk about this being small town, I think not so much, really. Yeah. I can go around town and still not see people I know.
Yeah.
Grew up there, went to Iowa, then went into the newspaper business. Okay. This is my third career. Okay. Went into the newspaper business, was a sports copy editor for a number of years, lived in Omaha, went to Connecticut, and then ended up at the St. Paul Pioneer Press. Decided right about 2000 that maybe I wanted to do something different and went to nursing school. Wonderful decision in that it taught me a lot about myself, but I'm not a good nurse. Yes, I'm sure those patients will attest to. But I didn't do that for very long. At the time, I was deciding, do I go to library school or do I go to nursing school? Well, I chose wrong, so I went back to school one more time.
Yeah.
But I did get to live in Seattle. I was a nurse in
cool.
Seattle for a while. And then I went back to school and got my library degree. And this is what I'm meant to be doing. I've been doing this since 2000. I graduated in 2007. I went to Georgia, worked at a library system there, went to New Ulm, Minnesota for 9 years, and now I've been here for 5 years.
Holy moly.
I know. I love moving to new places and just making myself part of the scene.
Yeah. Okay, I just learned something new. I didn't know there's something called library school.
Oh, yes. Most of us in management, like our youth services librarian, we go to library school. We get a master's degree in library and information science. And there are about 60 accredited schools in the U.S. and Canada. And that's typically what you end up doing. You go to one of those schools.
Interesting. That's interesting. So what brought you to Roseburg?
It was the job, the Roseburg Public Library director opening that I was at a point in my career where I was deciding, what do I do next? I was looking for a different challenge. I was, frankly, ready to go somewhere where it didn't snow all the time. Tired of the winters. And this came up and I thought, who gets the opportunity to create a library?
Right.
And came out here to interview, had a great conversation with then city manager Lance Colley, the department heads, got to see what this space looked like and thought, oh, wow, this is amazing. What an opportunity.
Right.
And it worked out.
Right.
Because it used to be called the Douglas County Library, but then wasn't it budget cuts or they closed it? And then it was really kind of a grassroots movement to get it back up as a Roseburg Public Library.
Keep in mind that this was all before my time.
Yeah.
Douglas County Library System folded in 2017 after a failed ballot measure to create a district, a taxing district. And so all of the libraries in the system were shut, for lack of a better term, although there were a couple that never closed their doors, that turned around and were able to continue services with volunteers. Roseburg did not take that path. The doors shut here. This was the headquarters of the county system. There were talks. The city took over the building and then the collection. This building is very big, about 40,000 square feet, and the city wasn't going to be able to maintain that. And so the Douglas Education Service District stepped up, and now they have a third of the building. The library has a third, and then the shared space, including where we are right now, is about a third of the space. Wow. And it's been a wonderful partnership because we have very similar missions. And so they come to us with programming ideas. They, in fact, do the tech support for all of our public computers. And then we provide a wonderful space for about 50 of their folks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you would never know it when you come in the library that there on a daily basis could be about 50 people over on the other side of the building doing their work.
I love it.
It's a good spot to take a break.
Yeah.
You know? Go get a book and read for a little bit.
And we get that often. That's what we love. Right now, you're getting the energy of the summer reading program.
Right.
And we love that. I mean, this is our jam. This is what we live for. But there are times where it is a great place to sit with a book quietly and read too. We love that dichotomy. And we have rooms like the one we're in now that people can use for study rooms, use for small meetings.
Yeah,
Podcasting. Yeah. You know what I love about this building is it has a lot of uses. It gets a lot of different types of folks coming in for all kinds of meetings.
So if we take you back to Iowa in a town of 48, 58 people,
85.
85, somewhere around there.
My mom would quibble. She'd say, no, it was 82.
82. So did you pick up did you fall in love with reading then? Being that, I just imagine being in a small town almost as an escape to get away from because everyone knows you, everyone knows your business, and you can just go hide with a good book and go read somewhere.
My community has a great library story
Yeah.
because it had a public library.
Oh, really?
It was a one-room schoolhouse.
Oh,
and
awesome.
There was a big community effort to renovate it, and it had these beautiful wood floors. And I grew up there, but didn't really become a reader until I was a teenager.
Okay.
It was Agatha Christie.
Oh, okay.
I was sold, right? My grandma couldn't understand why I liked to read about murders, but there was just something that hooked me. And so ever since Agatha Christie, I've been a huge reader. But when I was young, I didn't sit still with a book. Not like I see with some of these kids now that I just love. Right?
Right.
I love that.
Right.
But now, I can't. That's all I do in my free time is, read and enjoy talking books with people.
All right. So I think we've touched on this a little bit, but what's kind of your favorite thing about being a librarian?
I love the variety of my work. I might have a schedule, right? I might have an interview in 4:00 in the afternoon, but you never know what might interrupt that appointment, what might come up before that, or what's going to come when I'm done with this, what's going to be waiting for me. I love that variety, and I love being around people who love reading and learning.
Yeah.
And it's my coworkers, it's our patrons, it's community members. I just love the enthusiasm for literacy.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. So when we walked out, or when we were walking towards this room, I saw something about it was like a giant sheet of paper and coloring, and you wanted people to color, not write words on. So is that a way just kind of keeping people engaged while they're at the library, or just trying to find way for people almost to kind of connect too with while people are here besides just reading?
It's kind of fun to see that, isn't it? What we do here is books and a lot more.
Yeah.
It's engaging them in some social activities. Like this afternoon, we had a teen program, and there were 30 teenagers making bags, decorating, painting and ironing on, and sewing. It's about creating a space for people just to engage with their community,
Right.
Maybe meet new people, maybe pick up a book, maybe talk about books, but it's sort of a third space, right? Where it's literacy and it's learning. And we do that with programs like what we had this afternoon. We do that with PowerPoint presentations from subject matter experts.
Right.
We think about computer classes that we're planning to start in the fall. There are all kinds of ways to engage people in programs that don't cost them money at the door. They are welcome to come in and use the space, use the tools that we have for them, and take advantage of all the knowledge that's around the community that we can gather here.
Would you mind telling a little bit about the summer reading program?
I would love to. Summer reading program is a literacy program for all ages. It really starts with a log where kids and teens are tracking how many minutes they read. And it's an incentive program, so when they reach certain milestones, they'll get a free book to keep, and they'll get, we call them treasures, they're little toys, and they can earn up to 3 free new books through the summer. Well, then if they do that, then they're in our grand prize drawing, and this year our grand prizes are 1-year family memberships to Wildlife Safari.
Oh, wow, nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's great.
We also have our lobby full of toys and fun things to engage with, some books too. And those are book reviews. So teens and children can write reviews of every book they read. They can draw a picture, tell us a couple of sentences about it, and then they tell us what prize they want to be in the drawing for. And last year, I think it was right around 1,300 book reviews, right?
That's a lot.
And it's going gangbusters again this year.
That's awesome.
Now, the adult program is a reading log with prompts. Read a book set on an island. Read a book set in the 1960s. And you tell us the title and the author, and you can do one or you can do all 30 prompts. You can even do a second log. Every book you read gets you into the drawing for a gift card. And we're giving away 12 $25 gift cards for businesses in Roseburg.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's like the adult.
Yeah,
summer
that's
reading card?
18 and up.
18.
Yeah.
I mean, I might get on that.
Oh yeah, I want to see the adult book reviews now though. That would be
Wouldn't that, I should. What we added this year was every 5 books that you finish on your log, you can get a free book.
Okay.
We have advanced reader copies of some new stuff, and those are pretty hot ticket items. But I like the book review idea. We're always looking to add something, so I'll see what we can do next year.
Mark does a book review on the podcast every now and again.
Yeah, but here, Kris, please don't be upset. It's called a bad book corner. Because I read so many books and research for a podcast because we cover like Bigfoot and like murder
Important topics.
Very important topics, right? But you come across some books that just I don't
Not
know,
up to par.
published.
Yeah.
just still
We don't name author names.
We
but
don't name author
Mark,
names.
Mark
Okay.
goes
Don't,
into.
don't put unless it's a very title. I don't say the title. So
What was the last?
Oregon folklore,
Oh yeah, Oregon
Okay.
folklore. But it was a guy that just talked about
Whittling,
yeah,
and
like family bread recipes
Yeah.
or something like that. It had nothing to do about
Interesting.
Oregon folklore.
Yeah, no.
Interesting.
I think he just wanted to sell copies by saying Oregon folklore and just put whatever he wanted in there.
Well, it worked on you because you picked it up.
He got suckered
Yes.
into it,
Yeah.
Mark.
Well, one of our most popular book displays was books we hated.
Is that still out there?
It's not out there
Oh, that
right
would be
now, but it was
awesome.
super popular. And the book that I always put out there is Catcher in the Rye. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I know. So it's
That's funny.
these treasures, these classics that
right.
people just
These
have.
literacy.
It's such a in my case, just a violent reaction to reading it.
Knocking it off the
shelf. Which just starts the whole conversation, which is what it's all
Right.
about. And those books check out like mad.
That's
Like,
a
what's
great-
so bad about this?
That's a great idea.
That's awesome.
Mark could help you
Oh, man.
with putting books up there. That's funny.
The Catcher in the
Yeah.
Rye. That's
I just couldn't do it. I did it. I read it, but
Yeah.
maybe I should read it now at a different point in my life.
All right.
look, if they can't make a movie out of it, is it? I know that's the big thing. I don't think Salinger's told it right.
I don't think he wants it. Yeah.
No, he's dead. No, they'll go ham on it.
How many folks work here in the library as far in volunteers as well?
Right. We couldn't do what we do without the volunteers. I'll say that right up front. We have 3.5 full-time equivalents, and I'm full-time. Our youth services librarian is full-time.
Mm-hmm.
We have a half-time circulation supervisor, and then we have library aides at the front desk, and we have 4 of them that work 10 hours each week.
Oh wow.
And then we have about 20 volunteers that put in about 100 hours a month. And then we have our Friends of the Library group. They're a 501c3 organization, do amazing work with us, and they volunteer about 100 hours a month.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It takes a village to run a library.
Right. I know we're bouncing back and forth a little bit, but do you have like what do you think's like the oldest book you have at the library?
Gosh. I don't know about the oldest. It's without a doubt, it's a local history book.
Yeah.
But I don't know which one. There are some that are pretty crusty,
Right.
and we're not going to get rid of them because they're priceless, right? We can't replace them. Whether it's the Riddle, the beginnings of Riddle history,
Right.
some of those, the Umpqua Valley history books, they're priceless to us. We circulate almost every book, but if it's our last copy and it's local history, I don't let it leave the building.
Yeah.
Although I am looking at scanning some of them, so we have a digital archival copy just in case something happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever come across like a rare book that someone comes up to you and says, "Hey,
I was going to ask that.
This is worth money." Yeah.
No, but our Friends of the Library curate an Amazon book sale, and the funds go to support library projects and programs. And so they'll go through and list books, and they do find some treasures that they list. But, there's a difference between a treasure for someone at their house and a library that's a circulating popular collection library. So I don't feel so bad when the friends are selling that when, say they sell something for $300, that funds some really amazing programs for us, and someone else is going to enjoy the book. It has never, hasn't circulated here in a long time. So it's had its time here, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So do you visit other libraries like when you're on vacation, and do you
And judge them?
judge them or like soak up like ideas like, oh, that's a good idea on how this library does this, and kind of come away with that and install it here in the library?
Absolutely. I was with my husband in Scotland and England in March, and we had to tour several of the libraries. But I do that around Oregon as well. It's great to go see what others are doing and maybe what we can borrow. The thing about librarians is we're one big community, and we share ideas and templates freely. In fact, I was looking for a policy, and I can't remember if it was Tacoma. I think it was Tacoma. And I just called them and said, hey, would you mind sending it to us? And they did. And we do the same thing.
Yeah.
If we don't want to reinvent the wheel or have someone else go to all this trouble when we've done the background work.
Right.
I love that about librarians.
Yeah.
So yes, we do borrow heavily from each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is there do you have to follow like certain guidelines and like procedures on like how the library is run?
That was the first thing I started doing when I came to work here was create the policies.
Mm-hmm.
We have a long list of them that are on our website. And you want policies for collection development and meeting room use and we have one on internet use and, you name it. I mean, our display case has a policy around it. There are just a lot of policies. It really helps inform the public about why we're here and what we're doing. And then it's something for us to fall back on. The thing about it is every single day I'm stumped by something.
Yeah.
And if I can have a policy in place that helps me most of the time, then I don't have to think too much outside the box.
Sure. We understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We go by procedures every day. So we totally understand that. So do you have like a part of your day that is kind of like the hardest or the toughest part about being a librarian?
Oh, the hardest part about being a librarian. Well, being a library director really is around
Library director.
Funding. How does funding work? How do we prioritize the work we do with the funding we have? We can't do everything. We can't get out to every outreach event that we want to.
Right.
So we're always deciding how much capacity do we have?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Those are hard decisions to make. But we do our very best to provide a lot of services. And every year we take a look at what else can we do? What grants are out there that can supplement our operating budget? But it's a balancing act. And I think libraries all over are faced with those kinds of decisions.
Mm-hmm. How do you get books?
It's one of our favorite jobs is ordering the books.
Yeah.
I get to order the books for adults. Aurora Ropp, our youth services librarian, orders for youth, for teenagers and children. And we use wholesalers and we do a lot of research. I know Aurora really enjoys listening to videos from, again, subject matter experts, podcasts. She does a lot of listening to get ideas for books and what's trending in collection development for children and teens.
Interesting.
I read more about books than I read books.
Yeah.
Right? I'm reading reviews constantly. I'm seeing what's trending. I'm seeing what's the hot new thing. All of a sudden, there's this book. I said, where did this come from? It came from Book Talk. Well, of course it did. Well, now I better get that because it's on Book Talk. So we try to keep up with pop culture. That's really driving because we are a library that serves popular interest. We have our lane and we really want to stick to it because, again, we don't have an endless budget.
Right. I never really thought about that. So you guys really do look at like what's the most, or not the most, but you do look at what's like popular books out there and you try to get it because you know folks do want to read it and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I never really thought about that. I always in the library, they got books. I'm just going to go get one. I never really thought like, how they come to get the books. I think that's kind of fascinating. But do you have a favorite book?
I do. It's called The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood.
Okay.
Of course, she's better known for The Handmaid's Tale.
Sure.
But The Blind Assassin is a book within a book. And I'm not a sci-fi person, but the book within the book is a sci-fi book of all things. It really is about a woman in Canada who's looking at the end of her life back at what's happened in the 20s and 30s in her mill town. And she has a sister she was very close to. And what happened to the sister who really just kind of fell apart. There's a surprise ending. There's love. There's, a bit of a mystery. There's family dynamics. It has all the things. And it brought a tear to my eye. And any book that makes me cry gets 5 stars.
5 stars. Nice.
Oh, very nice.
Somebody asked me the other day, well, no, they put it on Facebook then and asked me directly. She needed new book ideas. She was looking for new book ideas. And, of course, I was happy to suggest many books. But do you have a favorite book?
I'm a big fan of Bill Bryson, the author.
Oh, gosh. Isn't he great? He's from Iowa.
Anything he writes, I'm just in love with. You're a Cormac McCarthy fan?
Yes.
Oh,
so sad to say. Well,
sad.
He lived a good life. So, yeah, I love Cormac McCarthy. I fell in love reading Cormac McCarthy right here in this library. So, and I just kept coming back, seeing hoping you guys had all the older stuff. So, and then, Cormac McCarthy, Brad Meltzer, Ken Follett.
Oh, yeah.
Good authors.
He's coming out with a new one.
Yes, I saw. Yeah. And I love that he sticks to kind of like the same, kind of around the same town in England. I love that he kind of like builds off this little town and does different time periods and builds off like the lineage of different families and how they've all evolved and they're all intertwined, and it's good books.
Well, I'm not going to remember the name of the Bill Bryson book. It's the one where he went around the U.S. and it starts out, I'm paraphrasing. I grew up in Iowa. Someone had to. Like, really?
Yeah. It's such a fun listen.
Oh, yeah.
It's a time capsule, too, because it's like late 80s or like, it's just like that time frame of America. Yeah. So wild.
No, me too. I know. I don't find enough people to talk about books with. I'm always like asking people because I think people, not to like, but like, everything is, there's just so much like streaming and like movies and TV shows. I don't feel like there's that much reading going on, but maybe there is. I mean, you could probably tell us more than that. I feel like,
Well, that's one of the questions.
I love a good book, so.
Right? One of the questions we ask folks if they come to us and say, you have a recommendation.
Yeah.
Well, I will often say, what have you been watching? Or what are your favorite shows? We'll ask about their favorite books too, but often it's driven by what's on their screen.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks are surprised by all of the adaptations. Pretty much the majority of things you'll see on TV were a book.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. Is there the most popular book you would say that gets checked out most frequently?
Well, I'm going to go to the kids section because the Elephant and Piggy series by Mo Willems, they're fantastic reader easy reader books.
Yeah.
They get checked out constantly. And then a little bit older, the Diary of a Wimpy
course.
Kid books.
Yeah.
We can't keep them in Big Nate. You can't keep them on the shelf. Yeah.
Those two, yeah.
No.
Wimpy Kid book.
Still popular.
Yeah.
And then for adults, it's more of what's trending on the bestseller list. Where the Crawdads Sing had this, it was wild when I got here in 2018. It was so popular. And then it kind of tampered down. I took a couple of copies off the shelves. And then they came out with the movie. I'm like, oh, man.
Right.
Fortunately, we got a donation. We added another one. So something like that has had a long tail. I would say local history is still pretty popular.
One knucklehead runs a podcast.
Folks come to us for, tidbits of local trivia, and I will often send them to the Umpqua Valley Trapper. The Umpqua Trapper. Yeah. We have the full run, and it's indexed on our card catalog. And so you'll find these gems. And we will often send folks to the Trapper for those little nuggets.
Why do they come in for trivia?
I think it's the folklore, the local tales. I heard about this person. Do you have anything? And well, let's check the Trapper. If the Trapper doesn't have it, it probably didn't happen.
You know
Our
what?
very first episode was the Brumsfield murder.
Okay.
So, and it was from an Oregon Trapper article I read.
Right. That's kind of a wild story. So folks need, if they need some folklore or local history or lore, you're welcome to turn into the Oregon Files podcast. We got plenty of random stuff we talk about.
Or the Roseburg Public Library.
Or the Roseburg
Right?
Public. Yeah. Or we can sneak in brochures in here and people can find them in between the bookshelves.
I love this kind of stuff.
It is Eric Wilson's book.
How funny.
Yeah, the story of the capture and court trial of a dentist who committed a murder in Roseburg in 1921.
How funny.
Yep, exactly.
It's a fictionalized version of it. It looks like.
It's all true. It's in the Trapper. It's true.
Yeah.
There's some stereotypes of librarians that have been around for a while. One of them that really sticks out is just either if it's in a movie or a TV show, it's just the finger over the lips and just shushing people. Now, how many times a day do you think you do that?
Well, I can tell you I don't do that
Oh.
on a regular basis. I have been shushed more by patrons.
Oh, really?
than I have shushed them. Yes.
That's funny.
I've never subscribed to the quiet library.
Yeah.
I
That's good,
want
though. I like
want a
that.
community space. And if friends see each other here at the library, they should enjoy a conversation.
Yes.
We have some quieter areas of the library where a big enough space that folks
Sure.
can go find a corner that's a
Yeah.
little quieter.
Yeah.
But the front desk certainly is a very busy area where we're trying to gather information. We're giving cards. We're getting people their material. It's just not a quiet area. We're helping people on the computers.
Right.
And nobody has to feel like I'm going to shush them because I'm the only time I've shushed someone, I got to think. It's usually around something off of their phone. They're playing music or doing something
playing
like
music.
that. We have earbuds for that.
You're right. Why did you get shushed?
Because I'm kind of a loud person.
Should to walk by and shush you? Do you guys still have old National Geographics here too?
We have the
I
full
love
run
those.
of National Geographic.
Yeah, those are cool. Have you ever seen those? I'm afraid to touch those. when
We
they're
have Life magazine, which
Yeah.
there are some
I
real
love
classic pictures in there.
I love looking at the old ads
Yeah.
from back in the day. Those are cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Has the one, and then I'm going to change it right to it. So, banning of books. I can't believe this is a thing. I mean, what's your take on? Do you get requests to ban books? Can you say if you do?
I have not received any formal requests. We have a collection development policy that guides our selection of materials, and we collect for a wide range of interests and people and ideas, and we will continue to do so. And so I understand it's a hot topic right now, but I fall back on the I know I've experienced what books have meant to me in opening doors. And now they're mirrors for other people. They play a real important role in our education as a society. And so I know I'm getting all down and serious about things, but it is an important topic. And I feel real confident and comfortable with the work that we do here developing this collection, and really stand by the work that we do. We spend a lot of time and we have a lot of expertise in this area, purchasing materials for a popular collection. And it reflects a wide range of experiences, of authors, of issues, and I'm happy that we do that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Wow.
Well, books mean so much to so many different people, and it's important to have a variety of books. And somebody may pick up one book and love it, somebody may pick it up and hate it. I mean, that's the best part about a book. It's, you can have a discussion and an opinion about it, and you shouldn't really be judged for your opinion or your discussion.
Some of our best discussions in our book groups are when we have very different opinions about one book.
Catcher in the Rye.
You read it that way? How could you? That's not how I read it at all. And I didn't like that character. That launches some of the great discussions that we have.
How dare you?
You either like Lord of the Rings or you're wrong.
Right?
How dare you? Do you have a lot of folks that come here and do like book clubs and like talk about books?
No, and it's because when I have a reason for this.
You knocked off Catcher on the Rye and she left.
Oh yeah.
When I was in Minnesota, that I was a programming librarian before I became a director, and I was in 6 book groups every month for years. And I said, I can't do it anymore. I just can't.
Right.
When I came here, we also had a different structure where it is difficult to get multiple copies of one book. And I don't believe a library should require someone to pay to participate in a program by buying a book. So we just don't do book groups like a traditional, everybody reads the same book. So what we do here, it started as silent book group. It's like the introverts book group. You see it. It's taken off in bars, in coffee shops, where people just commune with their books, and they may have a conversation at the end. And so that's what we do. Yeah. We read quietly for about 45 minutes, and then we talk about what we're reading, and we'll talk about pop culture a little bit. It's just a gathering time for book lovers. And that's what started it. And then the pandemic hit and we went on to Zoom. And that is where our group has flourished. So that became online book group. And everybody took their turn with what they're reading lately. And I will have a Word document that's 1.5 pages full of books, titles, and authors that I share every month out to this group because these people read and listen to a lot of books. Well, when it came time to have in-person programs again, I can't choose between the two kinds of book groups. So we do them both now. So once a month we're online, and once a month we're in person with Silent Book Group, and we get different audiences for each. But we're going to be out at the Butterfly Garden at Stewart Park for the summer once a month. And it's the last Thursday of the month. But check our website, because if it's too hot or it's going to rain, we'll be here at the library. So check our website, roseburgpubliclibrary.org.
Awesome. That's what I was just going to ask. So is that where you want people to go for anything with the library? Any things coming down the pipe?
Yep. We have our website, roseburgpubliclibrary.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram at Roseburg Library.
Awesome. So if people want to donate or volunteer, is that the best way to get a hold of you guys too?
That is. We take on volunteers on case-by-case basis. Please fill out an application. It's on our website. We have our circulation supervisor is the volunteer coordinator. We'll take a look at that. And folks who want to donate, I will say the most donations we get are materials. And we always love to get gently used books. We'll take videos. Our friends at the library have their quarterly book sales, and those are incredibly successful. And the funding, the proceeds go back to the library, and we fund things like our winter reading program, part of our summer reading program. The summer reading program takes a lot of folks to fund, but the Friends are instrumental in doing that. Remind me of the Friends, because I want to give them one more plug. But back to donations. So drop off those books, materials at the front desk when the library is open. We will happily accept monetary donations. We have folks who give us money to purchase books in memory of their loved ones. We love to do that. And we put a nameplate in the front of the book. We love doing that. Yeah.
I want to do that for you.
I love that.
You're welcome.
Do on Oregon folklore.
That exact
Our
book.
favorite book.
We really love doing that. And the other thing that we really get a lot of support from the community for is our Dolly Parton's Imagination Library.
Yes, the Dolly.
Which is why I said, remind me of the Friends, because they're our local nonprofit affiliate. We couldn't do it without them. You need a 501c3. And so they cover, it's by zip codes. So they cover the Roseburg zip codes, Wilbur, Winchester, Glide, and Idlewild Park. Now, most of the county is covered by affiliates. So just because I'm telling you these zip codes, please check at imaginationlibrary.com. You can check your availability and you can register. Those are kids from birth to 5th birthday are eligible to receive one new free book every month.
That's awesome.
It comes in the mail. It's unbelievable.
You didn't even have to go to pick it up. It comes in the mail.
Yeah, comes in the mail.
That's amazing.
And we are reaching almost 1,400 kids a month now in our service area.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So please continue to register, and then a shout out to the Friends for being the affiliate, and a shout out to all those folks who help fund that program. Lots of foundations are doing the work. Lots of local people, individuals, businesses are helping as well.
Wow. That's awesome.
What a cool thing.
It is very cool. Is there anything that about the library that you weren't expecting or like anticipating when you first became director of the library?
When I
You're
first
like,
became
wow, this is-
a
yeah.
director, I guess I just didn't realize I would go into management when I started out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that would be my career path. And there's a lot of customer service involved in any kind of frontline library work. Yeah, you can be a cataloger and not really have to work with people at all, but that's not the path I chose. So it is you're in the community, talking about the library, sharing the stories of the library. And I didn't realize just how important that would be. I love it.
Yeah.
But I continue to work on honing the story because it's an important part of the work that we do here is sharing the success and the needs and the challenges that come with being a public library.
Well, something I noticed the other weekend when Mark and I came recorded, we showed up right when the library opened, and you already were out in the lobby meeting an elderly woman with a bag of books, and you already checked out the books for her.
Oh,
And that was such an incredible moment. I don't know. Do other librarians do that? Other librarian directors do that? I don't know, but that to me, that was like, that kind of separates. That was just, I don't know, that was really, really sweet that, because you don't have to do that. I mean, she can come and get her books and check them out, but I mean, you took the extra step to make sure she was taken care of. And,
well, thank you. One of the things I think is so important, someone taught me years ago how valuable it is to know your people. And so I really strive for all of us at the library to get to know our patrons, to have that small town feel about it, that they're welcome, that we know who they are, that we know what they like to read. I like placing books that I've just purchased on hold for someone, and it's a little treat for them that they don't know that we're getting this book, but they come in and, oh, you had that on hold for me. I love that kind of connection that we get with our patrons. Everywhere I've been, I just think that that's something special that we can do. Those are special relationships that we build with our patrons.
Sure. I love that you call them patrons.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Depending on where you are, patrons, customers, users.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm a little old school. We go with I go with patrons.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So I asked this question to everyone that comes on to the podcast. If you could have 3 people over for dinner, dead or alive, who would you invite over?
I would invite Roxane Gay. She's one of my favorite pop culture critics right now. She's a beautiful writer. She does great essays, and she's just in tune. I love her. She has a New York Times guest column. I love her work. She has a book called Bad Feminist. And then Edith Wharton, because I recently discovered there are so many holes in my reading, right? I just can't read everything. But Edith Wharton, The Age of Innocence, has become one of my very favorite books. And it turns out it's Roxane Gay's favorite book, too. And so I would love to have the two of them. We could talk about The Age of Innocence. And then my grandma's been gone for a long time, and we were really tight. And I would love to have her. Even she and Edith Wharton were around at the same time. So even though they lived in Iowa and New York, they would still have things in common. Yeah.
Sure.
I think that would be a fantastic dinner.
That's awesome. I love asking that question.
This is such a good. You were the best quick on the answer too.
Yes. And I'll let Mark answer ask the important question.
So here we go. The very 2 important ones we have here. What's your favorite sandwich?
I'm probably very basic in my answer, but I love a good ham and Swiss.
Ooh.
I don't know. Is there does it tell you what kind of person I am by the sandwich I eat? Is that
Here's what I will tell you from this question now. We've asked it probably a dozen times. Everyone has a different sandwich.
Yeah.
okay?
And I think that's very telling too. It's probably almost taste in books. Everyone's going to have a little bit of different thing just from their life experiences, So good answer.
Okay.
Now, favorite movie?
Well, I don't watch a lot of movies. I would say Shawshank Redemption, but I can't watch it every time it's on. It's on all the time, but I can't watch it because I cry every time. And so I can only watch that at certain points. Yeah. Okay, I'm ready for a good cry fest. I love Hoosiers.
Okay.
Classic.
Yeah. Love Hoosiers. And then
Hackman.
I know, right?
So
Dennis
good.
Hopper
So
and
good.
how
about Field of Dreams?
Right. I grew up about 45 minutes from the Field of Dreams.
Cool.
I've been there a number of times and I have seen it when it was nothing, back in the early 90s when it was really just a dirt field.
Yeah.
And to see the transition, now it's a big business.
Yes,
it's a big business.
They host MLB games
That's
once or twice a
crazy.
year.
Yeah. So I do enjoy the movie very much. And it's based on a book,
Yes.
Shoeless Joe, by W.P. Kinsella, who went to the writer's workshop at Iowa. And so it's
a character in the book.
Yeah, it's a well worth a read.
Yeah.
Kinsella's a great writer.
Yeah.
So, I wish I had a real firm answer. So
No, those are good answers.
Don't.
We did ask a librarian.
The sandwich was the most important one.
Yeah.
The movies.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I think you must have a chart though. If you like this sandwich, this tells me that you're this type of person.
Well, we know what we're going to do I don't know if we're going to do it like on our 50th or 75th episode, but we're going to do like a mashup of just the answers for the sandwich in the movies. And that's going to be the whole episode. So you made it. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. But seriously, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy director librarian day. We really appreciate.
You're
and we
welcome.
really appreciate you and letting Mark and I we now just show up and you smile and wave us on to this room now, and I think we'll just forever be grateful for allowing us to come in here and record our little podcast. So.
You're always welcome here, and thanks for this. That hour went by so fast.
Yeah.
Well, I told you at the beginning, though, it's my favorite topic. I love talking about libraries. And really, folks, check us out, roseburgpubliclibrary.org. There's always something happening. We spend a lot of our energy on children's and teen events. We want to catch those kids early and develop them into lifelong learners and readers, and it's so important. That's why we have a full-time youth services librarian. That said, doesn't matter what your age, come on in. We have something for you.
Yes.
As it should be.
Yes. And if you want to get a hold of the podcast, it's OregonFilesPodcast@yahoo.com. You can check us anywhere where you get a podcast. Instagram, Mark puts it on YouTube. Yeah, check us out. Hope you guys have a good day and have a great summer.
Thank you.
Cheers.